The Druze, who exactly are they? And why are they making headlines in Syria? Violence has once again flared between the Druze and the new Syrian government rebels near Damascus. 13 people are claimed to be dead. But why? Why do the Islamic HTS in Syria have any ill will towards the Druze community, who have always been peaceful? Well, in this video here, HTS, the modernly reformed Syrian Taliban, is armed to the teeth. Full military kit, guns, and of course, a big sword. Yes, it's a bit medieval, but in Islamic tradition, it sends way more of a message to decapitate your enemies than to shoot them. Shooting is so boring. Leave that to the Americans. So what happened? Well, an audio clip surfaced online attacking Islam's prophet Muhammad, supposedly from a Druze cleric. But the cleric, Marwan Kiwan, immediately denied that it was him, calling it a fabrication that was just meant to cause violence. And yes, violence it did cause. Despite the denial, Sunni Muslim militias retaliated and fighting exploded in Druze neighborhoods. Yes, suspicion of ill talk about Prophet Muhammad might end up getting you killed. Meanwhile, in Israel, Druze live peacefully, even joining the IDF, flying Israeli flags, and making a really good pita with za'atar. Back in Israel, the judges of the Jerusalem District Court are attempting to move Netanyahu's court hearings back to Jerusalem. Until now, they've been in Tel Aviv. Why? Because the Tel Aviv court has bomb-proof rooms, which is more secure. So the judges are working with security officials to see if it makes any sense to move him. Because, hey, why not raise the security risk just a little bit? Prime Minister Netanyahu is still fighting on the courtroom battlefield in multiple forms of corruption cases. However, today he tore apart the testimony of key witness Hadass Klein, who has been a leading figure in the case against him. Klein claims that she called Netanyahu on the phone at his personal residence, and Bibi himself answered the call. Netanyahu shot back, saying that he never answers the phone himself. He says that all calls are routed through his office secretary, so it's not even possible. If true, that would expose a key flaw with Hadass Klein's testimony. He also pointed out that Klein accused billionaire Arnon Milchan of gifting earrings to Sarah Netanyahu, but Sarah doesn't even have pierced ears. Netanyahu accused both Klein of personal and political bias, saying that she simply despises him. Klein posted a defiant picture to her X account holding an Israeli flag, taking a jab at Netanyahu's rumored ties to Qatar. She says that she will only ever fly an Israeli flag, never a Qatari one. In slightly less human news, monkeys around the country are under attack. In the north, police rescued yet another monkey tied up in a bathroom. This green velvet monkey was found living in horrific conditions, part of a growing wave of illegal animal trade across the country. It's the 39th monkey seized since March. The animal was handed over to the Nature and Parks Authority for urgent care. It's not just monkeys, it's lions, birds, lemurs, and all sorts of creatures, turning it up in the most unexpected places, but mostly in Arab towns. In the Knesset, while regular Israelis are struggling to survive, government ministers are gearing up to give themselves a pay raise because, of course, the government is doing a great job. Opposition leader Yair Lapid spoke out against the move, calling it criminal. He said, people are falling apart. They can't make it through the month. And this is what the government focuses on. All we hear about in the news today is Bibi's trial, the Shin Bet chief's trial, and now the government wants a raise instead of cutting taxes or easing the burden on Israeli families. The ministers are prioritizing their own bank accounts because nothing says public service like voting for yourself a raise during both a war and an economic crisis, not to mention that the hostages are still suffering in Gaza. Finally, Shin Bet chief Ronen Bar, who took responsibility for the October 7th catastrophe, stated that he will be stepping down in the coming months. President Isaac Herzog responded, calling it the correct step. Bar admitted to major failures that contributed to the October 7th disaster, and while it's an admirable thing to do, to take responsibility for your failures, it is deemed by more of the country that he's not really the man for the job. The job's only purpose is the security of the country and its citizens, and if you can't do that, well, I'm not sure exactly what you're doing there. Herzog warned against dragging Israel's internal security service into politics. Security should never be political. It should only be about security. Accountability is long overdue, and the fight for real answers as to how we even ended up in this mess has only just begun. Across the ocean, a major fight over women's sports. The U.S. Education Department is threatening the University of Pennsylvania to strip transgender athletes of their women's sports awards or face federal enforcement action. The Trump administration says UPenn is violating Title IX by allowing biological males to compete in women's sports. They gave the Ivy League school 10 days to fix it or else. UPenn, for its part, says that it followed all the NCAA rules. the NCAA rules that the Biden administration had laid out. But the White House has already yanked $175 million in funding over this particular issue, and lawsuits are flying left and right. It's divided many people. The more right wing say, no men in women's sports. The left says, what men? They're women. Yes, of course they have 10 times the amount of testosterone as the rest of the women, but if your heart says that you're a woman, well, who are we to stop you? Trump says, I'm going to stop you, or else say goodbye to your funding. So there it is, folks. Another day, another episode of the crazy reality TV show that we call The Human Race. Here in God's country, we won't stop fighting for what's right. Yeah, sure, we make mistakes. Humans are imperfect, but that's what happens when you separate yourself from God. True faith and love for each other is what will move us into the next phase. Who are we without God? Just a bunch of animals playing survival of the fittest. Without purpose, without morals, and without a greater power, we are nothing. So remember, watch the news, but also watch out for your soul. Remember who runs the show here, because it sure isn't us. This has been Overnight Israel. Please like, share, comment, and support the show. It's a small action from you that really helps us stay motivated and keep leveling up our efforts for you every single day. For JFeed.com, I'm Simcha Brodsky. Catch you next.